Welcome to TMC virtual class. Student, I will take today Science and Technology Part 1 Chapter Metallurgy. Student, in last class we discussed that physical properties of metals as well as non-metals. Then we saw some chemical reactions of metals like what happens when metals react with oxygen, metals react with water, metals react with non-metals also. So now today we have to start with chemical properties of non-metals. So student, first we have to understand what is non-metals. So non-metals first, what is non-metals? So first we have to understand, take one example like chlorine. Chlorine atomic number is 17. If you do electronic configuration, that time first cell 2 electrons, second 8 and third one is 7. So chlorine want to complete their octet. So they require 1 electron to complete their octet. So non-metal means which require electron to complete their octet means they gain electron. So whenever elements gain electron, that time it is called non-metals and they form that is called electronegative elements. So you can see in slide also, student, take one example like chlorine. So they gain electrons. Some other examples are given like oxygen. So atomic number of oxygen is, that is O. Atomic number is 8. Do electronic configuration. So 2 and 6. So now you can see their outermost shell contains 6 electrons and they require 2 electrons to complete their octet. So that time it is called non-metal. So that's why it is called electronegative elements. Why electronegative? Like metals donate electron, so they're having electropositive ions. And whenever non-metals require to complete their octets, that time it is called electronegative elements. So oxygen require 2 electrons, so minus 2, and similarly chlorine require 1 electron, so minus 1. So that's why it is called electronegative elements. So what is non-metals? Already you understood what is non-metals. Next part of this lesson is we have to deal chemical properties of non-metals. So chemical properties of non-metals, in this part we have to first see the first thing, that what happens when non-metals react with oxygen. Reaction of non-metals. First one, reaction of non-metals with oxygen. So student, you can see also non-metals react with oxygen to form acidic oxide or neutral oxide. Like metals when react with oxygen, they form the basic oxide. Similarly, non-metals when react with oxygen to form acidic oxide or neutral oxide. So how can you prove that this statement? Take one example like carbon. So carbon is solid, that is non-metals. When react with oxygen means they are complete combustion reaction. So in complete combustion reaction, so that is very important, complete combustion. So that time they form carbon dioxide. So that is acidic oxide. This one is known as acidic oxide. How can you prove that this thing? So take carbon dioxide when react with water. So that time they form carbonic acid. So H2CO3 means simple addition reaction, H2C and how many oxygen? 2 plus 1. So total 3. That is known as carbonic acid. Carbonic acid. So very simple example you can understand in this part, that carbonic acid. So student, you can see in this part carbon dioxide. So carbon plus oxygen means non-metal when react with oxygen. That is carbon dioxide, it is acidic oxide. But how can you prove that? So simply we can take water and when water react with carbon dioxide, they form carbonic acid. Take another example, when carbon, they are going for incomplete oxidation. So that time they form carbon monoxide. So we can take here 2CO, 2CO. So incomplete oxidation or incomplete combustion, so that time they form carbon monoxide. So carbon monoxide is neutral oxide. Carbon monoxide is neutral oxide. So that is very important. Complete combustion will give acidic and incomplete combustion will give neutral oxide like carbon monoxide. So you can see also in slide, incomplete combustion will give neutral and complete combustion will give you acidic oxide. So simple example. Next, another example you can take sulfur. So when sulfur react with oxygen, they form sulfur dioxide and it is also acidic oxide. Now next part is very important. What happens? Reaction of non-metals with dilute acid. So reaction of non-metals with dilute acid, that is very important. So next part we have to see reaction of non-metals with dilute acid. So very important thing you have to remember that non-metal basically do not react with any acid, but some exception case you have to remember, like halogen family, group number 17, fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and this iodine, all these are the halogens and it is highly reactive element. So this element can react with dilute acid, but all non-metals cannot react with dilute acid. So it is given that also generally non-metals do not react with, basically that is given, dilute acid. So take one example like halogen, chlorine, Cl2, when react with HBr, hydrobromic acid, HBr, hydrobromic acid, that time they will form HCl and Br2. So 2HCl, 2H and 2Cl, 2HCl plus Br2. Br is halogen, so Br. So you can see in slide also, non-metal do not react with dilute acid except halogens. Next part is very important again. Non-metals, what happens when non-metals react with water? Again the same thing, remember you have to, only halogens which is highly reactive like fluorine, chlorine, bromine and iodine, highly reactive element, they can react with water also, but all non-metals, take example like carbon, sulfur, phosphorus, any non-metals cannot react with water. So you have, if you want to perform some reaction, so you can take in slide also, like chlorine is a halogen family, when react with water H2O, so that time they form hypochlorous acid, means HOCl, 1H 1O, so HO and how many Cl? 2 Cl, so we can break also Cl2, Cl and Cl, so HO and this one Cl, so HOCl, so HOCl is known as hypochlorous acid and remaining one hydrogen and plus one Cl, they form HCl. So you can see in slide also, and this one is aqueous solution because it react with water, aqueous, and HCl is also aqueous solution because again it react with water. So it is very important, you have to remember, again I am revising that one part, non-metals react with water, only halogen family. Second, non-metals can react with also water with halogens, then acid also with halogens, and last part of this chemical properties we have to discuss reaction of non-metals with hydrogen. But they can react with hydrogen, but temperature, at high temperature, high pressure required, like formation of ammonia, given by the scientist Haber, and it is also called Haber process. In this part nitrogen can react with hydrogen, but at high temperature and high pressure. So let's see one example also. like what happen when non-metals react with hydrogen. So next part of this lesson is what happen when non-metals react with hydrogen. So very simple example, we have to see like Haber process, formation of ammonia. In this part, catalyst are also required like nickel and platinum. So N2 and nitrogen gas plus H2 and they will form ammonia. So what is the formula for ammonia? That is NH3. So suppose if you want to balance this reaction, so how many N? 2. So we have to take here 2. But what about hydrogen? So 3 2 is 6. But in left hand side only 2 hydrogen. So we have to take here 3 to balance the reaction. And this is form ammonia. So it is given by the scientist Haber, and this reaction also called Haber process. So remember that nitrogen can react with hydrogen, but one condition you have to require at high temperature and second at high pressure. So this reaction you will perform at in 12th standard also. What is Haber process? But you have to remember in 10th standard, whenever non-metals react with hydrogen, they require high temperature and high pressure, and it is given by the scientist Haber. Now next part of this lesson is student, we completed. Again I am revising physical properties of metals, physical properties of non-metals, chemical properties of metals, then chemical properties of non-metals, and next part of this lesson is ionic compound. So let's start ionic compound. So you can see also in this part given slide, non-metal do not react with dilute acid except halogen. So already we performed this reaction, and then non-metal do not react with dilute acid except halogen also. And this is, I told you already, nitrogen when react with hydrogen they form ammonia, and they require the catalyst, that is iron Fe, and high temperature and pressure required, and it is given by the scientist Haber. Now next part of this lesson is student very important. For exam point of view, they will ask define ionic compound. Also they will ask write some physical properties of ionic compound. So we have to start. First we have to understand what is ionic compound. So let's start ionic compound. Student, we already know that compound. So first start with the letter word, that is compound. So what is compound? When two or more elements combine with a fixed ratio with chemically, that is called compound. But in this part we have to understand what is ionic compound. So ionic. So what is ionic? Means they form the ions, and there are two ions. The first one is cation and second one is anion. Cation and second one is anion. So there are two ions, cation and anion. Cation is positively charged and anion is negatively charged. So we have to understand this concept. Take one example like sodium chloride, simple example NaCl. So in this part student, Na is positive ion and Cl is negative ion. How? So take sodium, atomic number is 11, do electronic configuration 281, and chlorine 17 287. So in this part sodium will donate one electron to chlorine, so it will become positive, Na plus, that is 28, and chlorine require one electron, so 288. And they always remember that electrostatic force of attraction in oppositively charged ions means positive and negative and opposite charge, and that time they are having electrostatic force of attraction, and that type of bond is known as ionic bond. And the compound is called ionic compound. So remember that it is given also the compounds formed by two units, namely cation and anion, are called ionic compounds, and they are oppositely charged and they having the electrostatic force of attraction. So you can see also an ionic compound is electrically neutral. Why neutral? Because 1 plus and 1 minus. So they will cancel with each other and that time they contain only NaCl. Always remember all ionic compounds are electrically neutral because plus and minus are cancelled with each other. Next part, we have to see some properties of ionic compounds. So crystalline solid have, and remember that ionic compounds are crystalline in nature. So what is crystalline nature? You can see at your home also. Salt and sugar are crystal in nature, and like salt. So when you dissolve in water, so that time it is always soluble in water. So anything, any solid are present in two form. One is crystalline form, and second one is amorphous form. So ionic compounds are basically present in crystalline form, proper shape, and have a definite shape and have a smooth and shiny surface. You can see in slide also sodium chloride crystals and second one is potassium iodide crystals. So basically they are in crystalline shape. You can see also in figure student they having the tetrahedral arrangement 3D dimensional and that sodium chloride crystal and potassium iodide crystal. So this arrangement of ionic compounds are different for different ionic compound. Always remember like sodium chloride and potassium iodide having the crystalline shape but arrangement are different and that's why their shape is also different. Next part is very important. In exam they will ask write some physical properties of ionic compounds. So let's see what is physical properties of ionic compounds. So student, already we saw that ionic compounds are, if you compare with covalent compound, so ionic compound are more strong because they have in the electrostatic force of attraction, they require more energy to break the bond. So that time ionic compounds have high melting and boiling point. You have to remember this point is very important. Ionic compounds having high melting and boiling point, reason is that they contain electrostatic force of attraction and that is very strong, and if you want to break that bond you require more energy. So that time melting point and boiling point of ionic compound like NaCl is melting point is more than 800 degrees Celsius and boiling point is 1413 degrees Celsius. That is very high. Next part, next property is ionic compounds are hard and brittle. So what is hard? So when you apply anything, any pressure, suppose this is your compound. So when you apply a pressure, at that time it will break. So take one example like it is given also. They present in crystal form. So when you apply any pressure here, so that time they will break and that's why it is called brittle in nature. So they will break. And next property is ionic compounds are hard and brittle. Next part is very important. So what are the factors responsible for certain crystal structure of ionic compound? So 2 points are very important and they will ask in exam also. First one is size of positively and negatively charged ion. So what is the size? Take one example like NaCl. So what is the size? Like sodium is 281 and chlorine is 287. So size is only 3 cell and chlorine also 1, 2 and 3 cell. So depending upon the size, the crystal shape also depend, and second the magnitude of electrical charge on the ions. So magnitude of electrical charge, take an example like NaCl plus and minus. So what is the magnitude? 1 plus and 1 minus. Take another example like MgCl2, magnesium chloride. So magnesium is plus 2 and chlorine is minus 1, so it becomes also minus 2. So plus 2 and minus 2. So the crystal shape also depend upon the magnitude, means कितना उसके ऊपर चार्ज है, +1, -1, +2, -2. Take another example, one more example like AlCl3. So aluminum is +3 and this one is -3. So it also depend upon the magnitude, means number 1, 2 and 3. So this is also very important. So depend upon two factors. First, size of the positively and negatively charged ion, means size of cations and anions, and second the magnitude of electrical charge on the ions. So magnitude of electrical charge means cation and anions. So what are the general properties of ionic compounds? Take one time revision again. Ionic compounds are hard and brittle, and the reason is because they are having the more force of attraction, that is electrostatic force of attraction oppositely charged ions. One is positive and second one is negative. So you can see also if you compare with water, so water having the boiling point is only 100 degrees Celsius, melting point is 0. But if you see like zinc chloride, magnesium chloride, sodium bromide, potassium chloride, magnesium oxide, they are all having the very high melting and boiling points. So you can see in slide also, if you see, you can observe that all ionic compounds are high melting and boiling point. Again, the reason is same thing, because they require more energy to break the bond, because they contain electrostatic force of attraction. Second point is very important. Student, you remember that one important statement, dissolves like dissolves. Means in simple, in if you want to understand in simple proverb like in Hindi, जो जैसा होता है उसे मिक्स होता है, like लोहा लोहे को काटता है. Similarly, in science also, in chemistry also, dissolves like dissolves. Means ionic compounds contain the ions, that is positive and negative ions, and water, that is H2O, which also contain the H plus and OH minus ion. And one example like sodium chloride, NaCl, we also contain plus and minus. So all ionic compounds are always soluble in water, but insoluble in organic solvents like petrol, benzene and kerosene. So petrol, benzene and kerosene are organic solvent. So all ionic compounds are insoluble in organic solvent but soluble in water. So that is very important point you have to remember, because they contain the same ions, that means contain the ions positive and negative, cation and anion. So dissolves like dissolves, important phenomena here you have to apply. Next, yes, that is very important. Student, remember that we know that all ionic compounds contain the ion, means positive ions and negative ions. But one important thing you have to remember, ionic compounds can conduct heat and electricity, but in solid ionic compounds do not conduct heat and electricity. The reason behind that, in solid form the ions are not free, that time they cannot move, and whenever they cannot move, so that time ions are not free to conduct electricity. So that's why solid ionic compounds do not conduct electricity. So that's why we require in molten state like what you can dissolve in water also. So whenever you dissolve in water, they form the aqueous solution, and in aqueous solution ions are free. Like you can take example like NaCl. So NaCl is solid. So in solid form they cannot conduct electricity because ions are not free. But when you dissolve in water like H2O, they form the aqueous solution of NaCl. And whenever they form the aqueous solution of NaCl, ions are free to move, and that time they can conduct heat and electricity. So we can say that in molten form, in aqueous form, ionic compounds are able to conduct heat and electricity. So you can see also in slide, the aqueous solution of ionic compounds conduct electricity as they contain dissociated ions. Dissociated ion means the free ions, that is positive ions and negative ions. And that's why they call also electrolytes. So student, we already completed the first thing, that in chemical properties of non-metals. Next part is ionic compounds, then properties of ionic compounds. Next part of this lesson is we have to discuss corrosion of metals. So let's start corrosion of metals. It is very important, student, in India also and all over the globe, the degradation of the metals by the action of air, moisture or acid is called corrosion. You can see in slide also, like you can take one example, any metal. So when they react with air, moisture or acid, so that time they form the brown surface on the surface, and that is called rusting, and that process is called corrosion. So it is mainly occur because of the metals are reactive with, whenever metals react with oxygen, they form their oxide. Moisture means like water and acid, and they form the brown surface on the metals, and that is called oxide form, and it is also called rust, and the process is called corrosion. Student, that is very important indicate that 25% of iron gets rusted because of and large financial loss. So you know that India is a developing country. Many infrastructure like bridges, buildings are formed, but because of the not proper maintenance, and 25% we are getting the loss because of this rusting. So we can prevent this type of rusting by the different method we will see in next part of this lesson. But remember that this process take long duration, but like building will collapse, bridges will collapse, and that time financial losses occur, as well as you know that living things is also very important, and that time many human lives also went because of this corrosion. So let's start what happened in corrosion. So you can see in slide also like copper. So copper is a metal. So they form the green coating when you expose to air for a long time. So that time what happened? They form the green coating on the surface of the copper, and that green coating is that is because of they form copper carbonate, CuCO3, copper carbonate. They form on the copper carbonate, that is CuCO3, and because of the CuCO3, the color of copper will turn into green color. So again it is a because of the rusting, because of the moisture, air and acid. Second, you can see very simple example like silver articles. So silver articles are a shiny surface, but when you expose to air or moisture or any acid, so that time it turn into black color. So because of the black color, because they form silver sulfide. Because in atmosphere, student, hydrogen sulfide gas are present. So whenever they react with silver, they form silver sulfide. That is AgS. Silver sulfide is AgS. So silver plus H2S, they react, they form AgS and H2 hydrogen gas. So you can see that is AgS, that is silver sulfide, and because of this silver sulfide, the color is become black. So in exam they will ask what is the color of when exposed to air silver, what is the color? So color is black. For copper, because of the copper carbonate, color is green. But some exception case you have to remember that like gold and platinum, student, in reactivity series present on the bottom means they are very less reactive. So whenever they are very less reactive like gold and platinum, there is no action of any acid and water or any gases on gold and platinum. So that's why it is resistance and there is no effect. So what are the prevention we have to take to stop the corrosion? So first one is we have to contact between the metal surface and oxygen or moisture to cut off. So whenever any metals cannot react with air, water or moisture, that time this corrosion process cannot occur. So we can take like we can apply some oil, some paints, some grease on metal surface. So but it is a temporary effect. After a long time it is not possible to maintain. So it is only temporary effect, not a permanent effect. So let's see what is the first thing we have to discuss. You can see also in your home all the iron grills and everything we can paint, but it is only temporary effect like painting of iron doors and window, oiling of bicycle parts by using the oils. You can see to fix a layer of some substance on metal surface, so the contact of the metal with moisture and oxygen in the air is prevented and no reaction would occur between them. So layer of the some other substance on the metal, so it is only the temporary effect, students. You can see also iron sheet have been coated with some other metals, and that time the more reactive element coated with on the surface of the iron, like we can give the name. So this process is known as galvanization. You can see in iron pins, iron nails, iron pipes, all they are coated with a more reactive elements, more reactive metals, that is zinc. So what happened? You can see in figure also, and we know that if you compare iron and zinc, iron is less reactive than zinc. So what we can do? Suppose this one is your iron, metal is iron. So what we can do in this part? We can apply some other coating on the surface, that is called zinc. So what happen? Whenever they expose with oxygen, suppose they react with oxygen, so they form the zinc oxide, that is ZNO. So bottom part is prevented because upper part they already form the zinc oxide. So one important method we can apply, that is rusting of iron can be prevented by coating of the surface of the iron by zinc. and that process is known as galvanization. So again, it is not a permanent thing, but temporary we can apply zinc on the iron pipes or nails. Next, you can tanning is another method. So that is also called in the kalai. So we can coat it with on iron to prevent corrosion, and tanning is another method to use the prevent the corrosion. And next method is very important, student, anodizing. So what is anodizing? You can see like silver or aluminum articles, they have the different color, different shade, like they are shiny surface, they also having the black coating. So because this process is done by the process to this oxide film protect the metal surface from further oxidation. So in this process we require some solution, and the solution is called sulfuric acid H2SO4, and they contain the, you can see in figure also, they contain the two electrode. One is positive electrode, that is called anode, and which is made up of aluminum, and the carbon rod, that is called cathode, negative electrode, and we have to apply we have to connect with some batteries, so that time electrolysis process will take place, and we can coat the aluminum article. So this process is known as anodizing, and it is very important method. So in industry also this method is very important, and this process is known as anodizing. Next, student, you can see in you know that there is some water we can apply on the surface of any metals, like we can say that they are coated with the gold water, or we can say the silver water. So this process is known as electroplating. A metal surface is plated by another metal, and the process again we require electrolysis. And last method is alloy. So what is alloy? Mixture of metals with some other metals, mixture of metals with some non-metals, and it is very important method. And nowadays all the industry they are going for stainless steel. So what is stainless steel? They what are the properties? They contain anti-corrosion properties, and they are hard, resistant to wear and tear, and they contain metals as well as non-metals, some other metals also, like 82% iron and 18% chromium. So you can see in this part the mixture of two different metals, and it is called homogeneous. Homo means single, geneous means phase, and heterogeneous means two different phase. So that process is known as alloying. Like pressure cooker, they contain the beryllium. Again, it is a alloy, and light in weight and strong. In your home, like pressure cooker, the handles are made up of this thing, like beryllium, and aircraft is also made up of beryllium. So again, it is an alloy. So thank you so much, student. In next class, we completed this lesson. You can practice at your home. Also, this one is very important part of this your for exam point of view. So in next class, we will see next part of this lesson.